Hey everyone, this is Joe from Gentleman Stationer, and welcome back because I am back from the Arkansas Pen Show. Thought it might be fun to do a little bit of a video talking about the show and some of the things I picked up while I was in Little Rock. Um, this isn't a ton of stuff for a pen show trip for me, as you guys may have seen in the past, especially on the blog. I actually limited myself to one pen, two inks, and two nib grinds, which is relatively good. But the inks, I don't have a lot of Akkerman in my collection anymore, and honestly, I miss it. I love the bottle, and I'll show you all a little bit of an unboxing. There are two colors that I've really been wanting for a while. The first is Garuda Rood. I apologize in advance to anyone from the Netherlands for butchering that pronunciation. But it's number 18, and I'll actually swatch these in a moment to give you all an idea of what the colors look like. I picked up number 18, and I also picked up number 7. I'm not even going to try to pronounce that, but well, why not? Koningin Nachtblau, Queen's Night Blue. And again, I apologize if I'm offending anybody's sensibilities there with my awful Dutch pronunciation, which is probably bad because I'm of Dutch ancestry, but hey, it's been a while. So next one up, Momento Zero, a Leonardo Momento Zero. I picked this one up. Shout out to Lisa and the team at Vanness for letting me come in and play around with the different pens. I've been wanting one of these standard Momento Zero Nuvola models for a very long time. They've been in kind of low stock at many different retailers, and so I figured now was the time to go pick one up. I really like this particular one because the swirls are different on every pen, and this one has a lot of gray in it on the body and a little bit of a this big cream blotch on the cap that I really like. So I think I am going to ink this one up, but I'll also write it up and do a full review, maybe a little video too on it. It's a medium nib. I'm going to do another video that I did with Lisa in Little Rock, where we kind of went through the ins and outs of picking out a pen and why it's nice to shop in person, because you can do things like compare the pattern on the acrylic and also the different nibs, because no two nibs are really alike, even if they're standardized nibs like this Yovo stainless steel nib. The two mediums that they had in stock, this one had more tipping. I will probably at some point get it ground, so I chose to go with this one. Let's put that aside for a moment. So the two nib grinds, I want to talk a little bit about this because I've got footage for another video that I'm going to be doing about how Matthew Chen of Matthew's Nibworks at Pactagon on Instagram ground these nibs for me. I had two of his Kodachi grinds put on two of my pens, two of my favorite pens. This is a Lamy 2000 in stainless steel. Used to have a giant broad or double broad. I mean, it was a huge nib. I never really got the opportunity to use it, so I had Matthew narrow it down to a Kodachi grind. You may have heard them described as a Naginata. I won't go into the history of the grind or the technical details here, but for purposes of general writing, it writes more like an architect, but with less sharp edges, and to me, it feels more forgiving, and I'll show you what that looks like. One of the cooler grinds I now have in my collection is a Schoen Design Monarch that I had Matthew put a Kodachi grind on, and it was a broad Monarch. The way the Monarch is shaped makes it perfect for this sort of grind, and this one writes like a dream. And I will be doing a couple writing samples. I'll try to get some quick writing samples in here for you. I'll also show you, I carried this this notebook, it's a rotor-fighting cover, to the pen show, and you can kind of see here is all of my testing, where I was just writing stuff, and there's also some of my price list from the show. But really, I was just kind of playing around with nibs at the show as I was sitting at Matthew's table and playing around with all of his testers. You can see all this and me doodling in this notebook. But let's take a look here and see how this Kodachi writes. I've got this loaded with Tatcha Einezu ink, which is a nice free-flowing ink. I'll lower that camera down so that you all can see how this pen is going to write. Say so. It's kind of hard to see a little bit how the line variation is. It's got the line variation of a typical architect, only it's fairly wet, so it's not going to be quite as pronounced, but you're going to have thinner lines on the downstroke and wider, wetter lines on the cross stroke, and you can really see it there. It's a cool grind. If you print or write italic style like I do, you can really see it on your capital letters. Where you get some nice line variation. It's a little bit easier to write in kind of a mix of caps and cursive too. I mean, you can also write in cursive with a Kodachi grind, and I sometimes alternate between the two of them, but the Kodachi grind, because it's more forgiving than an architect, which can have some sharp edges, it's better for my own personal handwriting style for everyday writing, which is why I like it, and it's now kind of, along with a cursive italic, one of the only two grinds that I will put on a pen. Let's take a look at the Monarch. Now, this is a much wetter nib. The Monarch tends to write wetter than a lot of other nibs because it's got an Ultim feed and is made of titanium. Yeah, and you've got some nice line variation on that one. This one I would say probably has, I'm gonna have to play around with this one a little bit more. Just kind of right off the top, I would say this grind may have a little bit less of line variation than the Lamy, just based on feel. But it's also got a really wet ink in it, a cartridge of Kaweco Black, which tends to flow very freely, and I'll probably have to write with this one a fair bit before I can give a final judgment. But I'm gonna take a quick break here, and then I'm gonna swatch those Akkerman inks. All right, so welcome back. So we're gonna do just a quick swatch of these two Akkerman inks. So this ink is made for the PW Akkerman store in The Hague in the Netherlands. There's a lot of, I don't even want to say speculation. I mean, these inks are made by Diamine in the UK. Either that or they may be mixed by Akkerman, but the ink is Diamine ink. It's very good ink. I don't think I'm spilling any state secrets there by throwing that out there. But I've had one or more Akkerman inks in my collection for a very long time over the years. I sold some of them off. I had some colors that I was a little tired of, but realized that I missed the inks themselves because they're really nice inks, and I love having this cool antique style bottle. The bottle has a marble in the neck. You can kind of see it moving around. And what happens is you invert the bottle, this inkwell fills up, you slide it over, and then when you uncap it, you have basically an inkwell that's integrated into the bottle, and you can fill your fountain pen easily. Here, we're not going to fill a fountain pen. We're just going to do a quick swatch using a glass stirrer. And this is Garuda Rude, which is like a rust red color that I've always wanted and have not had a chance to really order before. I am a red ink aficionado. If you've been following the blog, you probably know that about me. So I have, every shade of red known to man. I'm probably going to end up, honestly, buying all the Akkerman reds because they're great. Out of the Dutch Masters series, I already have the Rembrandt Crimson, and it's a great one. This is a Kakimori dip nib. This is number 18. Garuda Rude. I think I'm gonna like this one. I have not owned this ink. Just for the record, I wanted y'all to show, like, some people have asked what the difference is between the standard brass and the antique brass Kakimori nib. This is a standard brass nib that's about 3 years old, so it's just kind of naturally patinaed, and is antique, and that's what happens to them over time. All right. So now that one is swatched, you can take a look at it. That's a really good ink, and I'm really glad I have that color in my collection. Now you're going to look at this one, number 7. I'm not going to try to pronounce it. It is more of a blue-black. I think it's going to be more of a blue-black based on the... Oh, wow. It's a really pretty color of ink. That actually looks better than the swatch. It's got a lot of shading. I've been really into blue grays recently, and that is a nice one. It's a blue black with some gray undertones to it. And this is I'm not going to try to spell what that one is. But anyway, so there it is. Those are the 2 inks I picked up. Give you a little bit of a close-up. You can see both of those actually have some nice shading to them. The more so the Queen's Night Blue. Wow, you can really see that gray coming through. That's an awesome color. That's the winner. They're both good, but number 7 is the winner. Anyhow, anyway, thanks for letting me do this little, late night swatch party and unpacking of the show haul. I've now got to get home because I've just closed the shop and I was in the back room doing this little video, but we are open tomorrow on Saturday. We're now opening our brick and mortar store Thursday through Saturday. So if you're in the Nashville area, we'd love to have you come see us, and look for more video content in the future because it's a little bit of a different break. It's a little bit of a break for me. I spend so much time on the website. I enjoy talking to people. I've had a really good time meeting everybody at the show. And I will be at the Atlanta Pen Show next weekend. So hope to see as many of you there as I can.